Let's talk anime. Hello and welcome to Brandon's Discuss Anime, a Access Amoeba podcast. I am your host, Brandon Horvath, and with me are my co-hosts, Brandon Falinger.
Hee-ho. Hee-ho.
You know, that's very exhilarating.
I'll have to take your word for it because I'm not quite sure why you're as exhilarated as this.
Also with us, Ryan Stokely.
Hello?
Alright, you're good?
Okay.
Testing?
You're
Testing?
there? You're here? Yes, I hear
Is it in? Am I in?
Oh my god.
Oh, God.
Alright, good. I had to clean Lynn out of the auxiliary port. I did that
I was gonna
as
say,
soon as you started the podcast. I was digging in my phone with a sewing needle, like scooping out pocket lint. Alright, I think I'm good now.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just gonna kick back, sit in my
Am I
chair.
in? Am I in? Right there in the middle of the bedroom. Am I in?
Do you want to restart?
No, it's good.
Oh, man. He's good. He doesn't need to restart. He just needs to catch his breath a little.
Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, the guest that was supposed to show up today didn't, so it's just going to be us today.
I'm sorry to disappoint everyone with this fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, one person.
So guys, what's your favorite Japanese candy bar?
Man.
I mean, you know, considering I haven't tried many, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The only one I can name is Black Thunder.
Oh yeah, one of those. Honestly, one of the strawberry ones.
Japanese Kit Kats? Does that count?
Well,
Yeah, that's the other.
Well, guys, I have exciting news for you. If you like Black Thunder, for a limited time, you can stay at a Black Thunder themed hotel room.
What?
Why would
Is
I
it
want
made?
that?
Are the walls made of black thunder?
No.
Like Willy Wonka?
No.
Oh.
There is a Black Thunder in the packaging pillow in the room. There is a poster of the history of Black Thunder. The carpeting seems to be the top of Black Thunder, and the bed sheets have the Black Thunder logo on them.
So it's just a Hershey hotel, but with Black Thunder.
Okay.
But it's apparently one room.
Shocker.
Wait, one room in the whole hotel?
Yes.
That made news?
Well, on this one Japanese website I frequent, it is at the Hotel Zokia in Toyohashi, Japan.
Oh, okay.
It is
That is a
roughly
prefecture I haven't heard of.
it is roughly $169 a night for one
Not
or
bad.
two people.
That's not too bad.
From the beginning of June until the end of August 2022.
You know,
So
we keep
what-
saying it
what-
doesn't sound too bad, and then Brandon keeps opening his mouth, and I'm like, all right, where's the thing gonna come in where it's bad? Where's the
Yeah,
thing gonna kick
what
in?
kind of stuff is around that, like, area that, like, you know, someone would even go to the hotel? Is it in a major city, or is it, like, do they have beaches?
Yeah, because I don't think I've heard of that place.
Let me just do a quick search on Toyohashi, Japan, just to see what is around there.
Okay.
Well, Toyohashi seems to be a bigger city with about 375,000 people in it.
Okay.
So it is a city. That's a start.
Is it near the ocean? I guess it is. It's Japan.
Yes. It
As
seems
in,
But,
to
like-
be...
it would be.
Are there any beaches that, like, don't suck in Japan that aren't, like, fucked with, like, mines and shit? Don't they still have, like, mines on their beaches and stuff from
I
World
have-
War II?
No idea.
It seems close to the ocean, but maybe like half an hour, 40 minutes.
Alright. Oh, yeah, that was I was wondering if it was, like,
Beachfront
what we would consider a beach, like beachfront, beach town.
It's not anything like Jersey Shore or anything like that.
No. Oh, man. I wish they did the Jersey Shore Japan edition.
That would
just put the Guidos over there.
That would be wacky. It's known for Cherry Blossom Festival. It has a National History Museum, a botanical garden, and a zoo.
Shit, we better watch out. If Yamamoto gets in there, we might be in trouble.
Oh, yeah. Shit, I forgot who reads Zatch Bell 2 this month. I have been following that, and it is kind of interesting.
What are you doing with your life, Brandon? Oh my god.
And speaking about manga, to lead into my second thing I wanted to bring up, did you hear One Piece's ending?
No, I was just talking to Tyler.
You keep telling me this, and I keep telling you, yes, he's been saying that for what feels like 3 years.
Yeah, so, you were talking to Tyler?
Oh, yeah, he's just... Every time I see him, he talks about One Piece. He's like, you guys have to do One Piece.
And I keep saying to him...
The only way that's happening is if it's a Take 10 episode. There's no way we'd cover the whole entire fucking thing.
Yeah, but he said to me, like, do it in arcs, and I'm like...
Yeah.
That's still too long!
Yeah, isn't that still like he's like 60 episodes or something?
For like 4 years. Like, that arc has been a 4-year manga arc.
You could... I mean... Yeah, I guess it is kind of also hard to pick, like, favorite episodes, even.
Yeah.
Did they do any One Piece movies?
About 14.
Oh my god.
They did plenty. We could do movies. Although, if you're not watching the anime, I don't know how much you're going to be able to pick up.
Yeah.
Or reading the manga.
Yeah, this is true. Because all I know is they're pirates.
According to Oda, I think Oda is his name?
Eiichiro Oda.
According to him, he will be taking a month off break from the end of June to the end of July to start preparations for the final arc.
Well, here's the thing.
Okay.
Here's the little interesting bit that I'm sure you probably haven't seen or heard yet. So in the last, I want to say 2 chapters, including this week's, it feels like things got rewritten at the last minute.
Oh.
Whether that was an editor being like, hey, yo, you can't do it this way, you gotta do it this way, or whatnot. Like, there's things that happened at the end here that seem very different from the way Oda usually does things, right? Like, there's a lot of open spaces as to, like, what has happened to certain characters in this arc. Like Big Mom's children, right? They came in and were like, hey, yo, we gotta get up there to save Mama and help her out. And it's like, you got blown off of a waterfall, and we have no idea what the hell happened to you since. There is a point where, like, to not get too deep into the weeds here, there is a literal island that is a giant walking elephant, and the island is situated on its back, and it just walks in the middle of the ocean for, like, ever. It showed up at the Wano Island, laid down some dialogue for reference material, and then just disappeared. And it's like, why was this here besides just words that someone else probably could have said?
Yeah.
There's, like, 2 characters that were kind of a big deal for this arc that just kind of died off screen?
Off
panel? Off panel? Yeah. And it's like, wait, what? Even though the one was said to be, like, one of the strongest of this group, he's dead from, like, a thing that the others have taken and lived. Like, they took the exact same attack or something close enough to it that you could, give an approximation of, that seems about the same. Why did he die and he didn't? It feels like things got tweaked at the very end, and part of the reason he's probably taking off is to, like, readjust his plans that he already had in place that got tweaked because of this.
So, with, like, the final arc coming,
I don't even know it's the final arc. right? Because their arcs tend to be by the island. And there's at least one other island we need to get to before we get to where the One Piece is supposedly hidden. So there's more than one arc left. From what I recall of hearing, as far as the translation goes for One Piece, it was like it's entering like the final, not arc, but like the final section or whatever. Right? They didn't use the word arc. They used something else. I forget what it was. But he's like coming up on the final steps of where he wants to take it.
Can I find it myself somewhere? Oh. Gundam McDonald's, fried chicken, Pepsi special. Yeah, and that's just like a little side thing that like I didn't really want to bring up this time because it's not super important, but in Japan, Pepsi just came out with a new flavor that's meant to be drunk with karaage, or Japanese fried chicken.
It's preferred to drink it when you eat fried chicken.
Supposedly.
The soda
good pairing.
Well.
Yeah, kind of.
Like a
Very
fucking
fancy.
Maybe it has like notes of lemon or something that might go well with the flavors of chicken. Just like some people say, oh yes, like this Heineken goes well with this particular thing, or like this wine goes better with this pasta.
And then you have to question how the fuck, why? Why would you make a wine that's specific for a single food? That seems dumb. Why wouldn't you make a wine that's just, enjoyable all the way around?
Yeah, I'm just going to
sell better.
And I'm going to drop all 3 of the discussion points in the description, and I'm just going to give you the One Piece one to read after the podcast, Brandon. And that's it for me. What's up with you guys?
Still playing SNT5. Still really enjoying that game. I finally got back to the real world and found out that, like, the real Tokyo has apparently been destroyed, like, 20 years prior to me starting the game.
And are these, like, Final Fantasies where each one is separate, or...?
I believe so, but there's also a lot of spin-offs as well.
Okay, so, like, Shin Megami Tensei 3 has nothing to do with 5.
Not as far as I am aware, outside of just lore and how things work.
Oh, and do they have, like, a mascot, like a chocobo that shows up in every game?
Frost. Jack Frost is the mascot for the entire, I think, Atlas company.
Ah. Okay.
But I was teasing this to you the other day, Brandon, because I'm like, I got a cool thing that I've learned about that's neat. So how up to date are you guys on your whole bibliographies of stuff? Huh? How much do you know about the Holy Bible and its stories?
I know a very little bit.
I
know the gist of it.
Yeah, I know the gist of it too, but not super lot.
Yeah, I don't know like specific stories really.
Do the names
I know like
Sodom
2 or
and
3.
Gomorrah ring any bells?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the city that got turned into salt or sand or something, right?
God essentially like rains down holy fire and people
Yeah.
salt. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
They may have discovered what might be the actual, maybe not those cities, but the inspiration for that story.
Really?
Yeah. So it's a place called Tel El Hammam. I've got the freaking article up here. It's a Smithsonian article. So apparently, based on what they found at this city, they think what happened here, because they find things like shocked quartz, which only happens when something fucking massive explodes.
Yeah.
They found like pottery that was melted on the outside but solid on the inside still. Not to mention like bricks and other things that have that same type of like wear. And they started like mixing things off the list of like what could cause this. Well, there's no volcanoes here, so that couldn't have done it. war wouldn't have been this consistent with things.
Yeah, the stuff will be like smashed and whatnot.
Yep. So, they started checking off all the boxes of like, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. So what they believe happened at this point, and the biggest factor being that shocked quartz, and the fact that there's no volcano around to potentially trigger that to begin with, what they believe happened was actually here. Let me ask you this: do you know about the Tunguska event?
No. Doesn't ring a bell.
So the Tunguska event is something that happened in Russia, where a meteor came down and exploded above the ground. Right.
Oh, okay.
In Tunguska, it happened out in the middle of a forest, so all the trees are just blown out and away from everything.
Okay.
They think this is what happened in Tal El Hammam. They think
there's a meteor.
A meteor came down, and based on their measurements or ideas, it exploded maybe about 2 to 3 miles above the city. And what that would end up making happen would be like people themselves, like any living thing, would have been vaporized from that. Like the heat of the explosion would have killed them first, and then bodies would have just been evaporated from the shockwave.
Damn. Do they know how big the meteor could have been?
They're not sure because
it exploded. They think that it exploded in the sky.
Yes, like 3 miles above the city.
Okay.
Damn. Yeah, created an air burst. They don't really say, but because of what that usually does, it's about 1,000 times more powerful than an atomic bomb.
Holy shit.
There would have been nothing. They said air temperatures would have risen rapidly to above 3,600 degrees Fahrenheit. Clothing and wood would have immediately burst into flames. Swords, spears, mud brick, pottery would have melted. Almost immediately, the entire city would have been on fire.
It would turn it into freaking glass, basically.
That's what they were noticing with some of the brickwork and stuff.
Oh, really?
Kind of glazing.
Okay. Damn.
When they say like melting, they mean like that level of just what the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thought, right? I'm sure the name Jericho probably rings some bells too, right?
Yeah.
So about the same time that Sodom and Gomorrah happens, I believe the walls of Jericho also fall. They think there might be a link between those two, like whatever inspired them, if not the cities themselves. Whatever those would be. If Tal El Hammam or whatever is one of the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah from the Bible, if there is a direct link, or if this is just the inspiration, they think the same thing might have been what caused the walls of Jericho to fall, because it happened at nearly the same time. And on top of that, if the shockwave rocketed out from there, that might have caused that wall to fall. But it is a fascinating thing to be like, oh shit, like the Bible's interesting in that, like, take it with as much of a grain of salt as you can.
Yeah.
Because, it was written how many years ago and not by the people that were actually there.
Yep. And it's been rewritten.
Yeah, reinterpreted by people over the years, and stuff taken out or put back in, and vice versa. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's fascinating to find out, like, inspirational story, like, not inspiration, but like the what might be the origin of some of these stories, right?
Yeah.
Like when we talk about the Moses and the flood, right? Or not Moses.
Yeah.
What's his face?
Noah.
That's not. I always get them confused for some stupid reason. I flip their names.
Probably big bodies of water. One splits it in half. The other one makes a boat. Yeah.
Like Noah. Like the thing is, like, well, what would the flood have been the inspiration from, right? Like, what would have done that?
Mm-hmm.
And people have thought, like, well, we had that mini ice age where everything got super cold and shit, and then melted. And when that melted, was that what the inspiration was for that? Stories told about that, passed down, and then written, finally?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys ever remember seeing it, but in, like, the rag mags, they'd have, like, Noah's Ark found, and it would be like a boat wedged in the mountains.
I remember
just
a
be like-
fucking special on like the History Channel about that.
Yeah, it's just like one of those mockumentaries or whatever, or more like Ancient Aliens,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like pseudo.
I mean, it's still fascinating that the fact that there would be a boat up there in general, whether or not it's
Yeah,
of the Ark or not.
Yeah.
yeah.
Even if it's like a Viking boat or something.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
doesn't matter when or where. The fact that it's up on a mountain for some fucking reason, nowhere near a body of water, is the fascinating part. Like, how the hell did this get here?
Big old tornado.
Hey, look, nobody's saying that's not a possibility here.
So Brandon, anything going on? I mean, yeah.
You already talked to me. Try the other one.
Shit.
Brandon.
Yeah, I was like, Brandon, I already talked to you. Fuck. I have to mess up at least once an episode. Ryan, what's going on with you, buddy?
Let's see. Just besides getting a bike, nothing new really.
He's a bike boy now.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a trail biker, not one of those annoying dudes on the road.
You mean you ain't gonna be doing like training for bike marathons now, huh?
No, I'm not gonna do that. I mean, it could lead to that maybe, but probably not. I want to do trail biking. Like right now, I have like a hybrid mountain road bike.
You can get behind that, especially if like you're biking up a mountain or something. Get some nice views.
Yeah, exactly.
Some good old
And
vistas.
some of the trails, I've been watching like people do there's like a bunch of cool bike parks like around like America, and some of them have like crazy like wood platform. If you ever watched Hook, like the crazy ramps and stuff that Rufio has, they have that kind of stuff.
Huh.
Look up like the Lost Boys thing, because Rufio would skate. They would all like skateboard.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's set up with like just wood freaking ramps all around. They just like cruise around. That's for like expert level stuff, I'm assuming. But
Next thing you know,
just getting
Ryan's
out in
going like
nature is
stunts on a
nice.
half pipe.
Yeah,
Woo!
I'm gonna be like 40 years old, like just getting, learning how to do a half pipe
Just
stuff.
starts doing BMX shit.
Yeah.
Woo! And a 360! Yay!
I'm the Tony Hawk of bicycles.
Yeah.
Well, this guy does like a 900 like tail whip. I think like that's a bike trick.
Yeah, tail whip.
I think that's a thing.
I think it was like a 1200 or something somebody did. They rotated it 4 times or whatever. They did a tail whip like 4 times in the air with like doing a backflip or some shit. Like recently.
1260 is the closest thing to that in variance of 180 degrees.
Okay, yeah, 1260. I'm pretty sure somebody did recently that I saw. And like the people doing it are just younger and younger. It's crazy.
That's like 7 spins in the air.
And Ryan's just like, that could be me one day.
Yeah, right. Yeah, except I'd do it for like euthanasia. I knew I wouldn't land, and I'm like crumpling myself on the ground.
Oh God, my hip!
I'd be like Homer jumping the big gap and just falling down the mountain.
Don't.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Ryan. Today's anime, Dr.
Mhm.
Stone.
Ooh, Dr. Stone. Okay, I got one for you.
Okay.
How about is it about like a soap opera? Is it like a soap opera but anime?
Okay.
And yeah, you know, same tropes. Doctor falls in love with the nurse. You know, they're both married. But then also they have superpowers.
What kind of superpowers?
I guess the doctor has like some kind of healing. I don't know, nurse, same thing. Like there's like factions. Now I'm getting now it's getting yeah. Alright, hold on, scratch that.
Okay.
Alright, wipe that from the board. How about
Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, the board's clear.
Alright, hmm. Alright. Alright, how about this? There's it takes place in the digital world, okay?
Okay.
And this like malware starts to take over the city, and the doctor is the only one that can save them.
Kind of like Gridman.
Yes, but without mechs. This guy is like a hacker. He's got a team with him. They got a surgeon, nurse, and probably another doctor. I don't know.
You half described the concept of the Kamen Rider series X-Aid.
Oh, really?
Sentient computer viruses actually infect the people as actual diseases, and the riders need to like cure people by defeating said computer virus monsters.
Okay.
But no, this was based on a manga that just ended earlier this year. It had about a 5-year run, and Ryan, how would you feel if you were petrified in stone only to wake up 3,700 years later?
Do you think you could remain conscious for those 3,700 years?
Wait, is he conscious the whole time?
He's counting the seconds. That's how he stays
Oh, that's
conscious.
awful.
Well, he needs to know what time it is when he wakes up, because he needs to wake up in spring. If he doesn't wake up in spring, he ain't gonna survive. Because if he wakes up in the dead of winter, then what happens?
The whole world is petrified.
Humans, specifically.
And swallows.
What? How?
Well, we don't know if that happened at the same time, or if the ones that he's found are those that were left over from before. Because remember, they were finding things before humans got petrified. They were finding those stone swallows. We don't know whether or not the swallows that our main character finds are left from then or not.
Wait, what's a stone swallow?
A swallow
that's stone.
Like a bird?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we don't know for sure whether or not those swallows are from before humans were petrified, or if it happened at the same time.
Okay.
And we don't know why it happened yet.
Nope.
Since this is just season 1.
There is a point where we find out the origin point of it.
Yep.
But, you know, as far as like a country, but anything else, no idea.
Is this why he brought up Sodom and Gomorrah?
No, not at all. This I just found like during the week.
Oh, okay.
It has literally nothing to do with the show.
Okay.
Just a lucky coincidence.
Yeah. Episode 1 gives us a kind of fake out about who our main character is, and it's kind of brilliant.
I still don't know if I like it. It to me, it feels a little bit pointless because it's not as much of a shock as you would think it would need to be for something like this.
Well, I guess initially, before all the like anime was announced and stuff like that, so if like the very first issue or chapter comes out, you're following this kid, and he's like, oh, this is our main character. Nope, it's this guy.
Yeah, he's the dumb idiot. That's the main character. This Dr. Stone manga is about this moron who's more, brawn than brains, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, does it sound like I'm not buying it? Because that's what I'm trying to get across here.
He's not a doc. He's not. Who's the? Wait, what? Is he not the doctor?
Dr. Stone is soap.
What?
Like
the genuine confusion of just, what?
Is it just a product in the show?
No.
Like a Twinkie? It's like a relic of the past?
It was also petrified. Soap got petrified too.
No. Like, and I'm sure it gets brought up like once or twice more throughout the run, but they were saying like, this soap is essential to our life. It's essential to our health. This is our Dr. Stone.
It's a terrible, terrible thing. And they don't care.
What the hell?
They don't care that it's a terrible joke. I feel like we're losing some of it. Like there must be a Japanese pun going on there somewhere.
Actually, let me just look up to see if it has a different name in... Nope, it's called Dr. Stone in Japanese.
Yeah, but we don't know if there's some kind of like automatopoeia pun going on there. Like that's what I'm kind of getting at, is like, is there some pun that we as English speakers are completely unaware of that makes this funnier?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Just want to be in the joke. I feel like the Squidward meme where he's staring out the window at Patrick and SpongeBob running around.
Why are they having so much fun without me?
So, Ryan, how do you feel if you were like, maybe you wouldn't be conscious throughout all the 3,700 years because...
No.
According to some of the characters, you need to keep thinking about something or have some sort of mental drive to keep yourself conscious. So a lot of the people...
Otherwise, you turn...
Essentially, you're gonna completely black out until something happens to wake you back up.
Oh, okay.
So how do you feel if you were suddenly 3,700 years in the future? All technology, all science is gone.
The vast majority of human structures are gone too, taken over.
Hold on. Is my debt gone?
There's no banks, so yeah.
I don't need a job. Alright, I'm fine, dude. I can do that.
Can you?
I think I can, dude.
Gotta make spears and stuff out of stones and twigs.
Yeah.
Hunt down something.
I watch enough YouTube videos of dudes doing this, so I can definitely...
There's no YouTube.
Oh, I know, but I would retain...
memory, though.
Yeah.
Right? I've watched plenty of... What was it? Primitive Survival? What was it?
Yeah, like building the mud.
Oh, that dude that would... Yeah. Did you know that most... Well, you probably do, but most of those channels, like, they just have diggers go in and finish... Like, do most of the job. Like in the rainforest and stuff, where they make those awesome pools and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They just have a backhoe come and dig it up and all that.
Huh.
No, the channel I was thinking of was Primitive Technology. That dude's great.
Yeah. Does he still do the channel anymore?
Oh yeah, he uploaded. I think like 2 weeks ago, he had another video.
Okay, I thought he was stopping doing for some reason.
No, he had a break, pretty long break there for a while, but he popped back up.
Okay.
Maybe a couple of months ago, he's been uploading a bit.
Oh, cool.
Yes, but our main character is Senku Ishigami, a high schooler who loves science and wants to learn as much about science as he can, because one day he dreams of going to space.
It's gonna happen.
Okay.
Don't tell him it won't.
But that was before he got petrified.
Yeah, because all they really see is a big glowing green light on the horizon, and then all of a sudden they're stone.
Oh, damn.
So he is going to recreate all 2 million years of human evolution as fast as he can.
The hell?
To be fair, you have, of anyone that gets revived, he would have the knowledge, to do this.
Yes.
Right? It's one of those things of like, well, we have to build it from scratch, but at the same time, we have all the prior knowledge. We don't have to trial and error our way through absolutely everything.
Yeah. So, for example, gunpowder, water wheels, smartphones. He is going to recreate them all.
Damn.
That's a lie. You're lying.
That's a lie.
He cannot make smartphones. He even admitted that himself. It's just a regular phone.
Oh, that's right. Because
Now,
smartphones are way too complicated for their primitive world.
it's not happening.
Does he just have a coconut and string for a regular
No, but
phone?
they do use that illustration to try and get the point across, like the whole cups and string.
Oh, okay.
But no, they don't use coconuts at all for that. In fact, I don't think there are any coconuts because it is in Japan still.
Mm-hmm.
Like what's left of Japan.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, this is not caveman times. This isn't like Gilligan's Island. Damn, that was an older reference. They have like one main village where like a good 75% of this season is set.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so he's trying to get on their good side, and they're like, outsider, you don't belong in our village, but I have this. Oh, that's sorcery. We don't want sorcery here.
You're kind of missing some of the bigger points here.
I know I'm like...
You're fast-forwarding a lot.
Yeah, so let's go back to the beginning. Were you doing the finger thing?
Yes.
So, yeah, the original thing is that the guy who was our little trick as to who was going to be the main character, apparently he's Senku's friend. Tsukasa. Or not Tsukasa. Fuck, what's his name?
Mikasa Tsukasa.
No. Taiju. His name's Taiju. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Kaiju?
Taiju with a T.
Okay. I'm like, damn, dude, that's a cool name to get.
Taiju, not very smart, but very earnest and very honest about himself not being smart.
I'm an oaf. I don't care.
So, Senku wakes up, spends about 6 months getting the primitive stuff all set up, and then he's like, all right, it's literally taking me all fucking day to just get enough shit to survive with. Gotta revive somebody else that has muscles. And he starts thinking about how the hell he got revived and nobody else, because there's, as far as he's aware at this point, no other humans whatsoever. So he's like, how did I... And then it hits him that, like, wait a minute. I was thinking the entire time. I was burning whatever energy was being used to try and petrify me. That's why I woke up and nobody else has yet. He also finds out that, like, there's nitrate, I think it was the original thing. Where
nitric acid?
I think that's what he makes out of the nitrate.
Okay.
Like, later. What he realizes also is that nitrate, which is in bat guano, was apparently being dropped on him at some point, because he was near a bat cave, where apparently that was helping also dissolve the stone that was petrifying him. So what he does is he drags Taiju's body, because he, maths out based on where he was. He figures out where Taiju was at, because he was watching him out the window when everything got petrified.
And Taiju was going to confess to a girl.
Yep. So he finds Taiju, drags him into a bat cave where, like, the nitrate is kind of just dripping off of, like, the stalactites. Yeah. And he just leaves him in there, and he's like, all right, you're a big idiot. I'm sure you were probably as much conscious as I was, because you're too stubborn and stupid to not give up. You're going to have to wake up soon. Which, Taiju does. Eventually finds his way over to Senku's area. Or no, not... he goes and finds his way to the tree where he was going to confess to his girl, who has now been, like, grown into the tree. Like, the tree has gotten so big, it's just kind of absorbed the stone statue that was the girl. And I believe Senku carved, like, hey, you need to go here into that tree to, like, give Taiju directions, because he knew Taiju would show up there first more than anywhere else. So they link up together. They start figuring stuff out. They work out a way to, like, a little chemistry reaction to, like, dissolve the stuff faster using those stone swallows we mentioned before as a test subject. To see what's going to crack the stone faster. So they get that shit together. They go and grab the girl from the tree, which I'm kind of surprised she came out as easily as she did, considering it looked like she had been, had trees grown around her.
Yeah.
On their way back, they run into lions. Because apparently the ones in the zoo must have gotten loose and bred. So now lions are wild in Japan.
And they need somebody to help them, or else they'll die. And Yuzihara is not going to help them.
I mean, she's still stoned, and she's not going to be able to do anything about it.
Yeah, so they need to find a tougher person to help them. Luckily, they come across a prize fight celebrity. And
what do they call him? The most powerful primitive high schooler or something like that? I think that was the title.
I was just looking a little bit about his backstory, just like tiny bit, and he was a famous, I think it was boxing or something like that.
They didn't say specifically what his background was in this season. We did see that he was on a TV show in a flashback at one point. I believe we also saw that they were doing tests on him to see why he was so strong at one point, but that was about it.
Yeah,
There wasn't much besides, like, his super sad backstory that doesn't really make sense.
Dude punches out a lion.
Yeah, they free him from the stone, and he just quick gives him the rundown of, like, lions all around us on, like, our 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. We're kind of fucked. And he's like, got it. Punches lion in the face.
And didn't he say, like, where am I? Like, what year is this? Or
I don't think he even asked about the year. I think Senku just straight up told him, like, real quick, like, you're 3,700 years in the future. Lions on our 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and that guy is, like, super strong. He can, like, crush a boulder with his bare hands.
I mean, he can crack solid stone statues with like minimal trouble.
Yeah, and the thing is, if a human statue is broken, they're dead. They can't be revived.
Yeah, Senku did some testing prior to bringing back Taiju. Or no, prior to bringing back Tsukasa here, our muscle man. And he's like, yeah, I can't do anything when you try to, like, I tried putting a corpse back together, like a statue, and when I broke it out, it was just another corpse. It doesn't, like, you can't bring them back once they're already broken. So they get on for a while until they have enough of the nitrate to make another awakening serum, I guess you can call it, to bring back Guzurihara. She comes back, she's all happy, like, I'm alive again, I'm a bit of a ditz.
I have a question for you, Brandon. What is her headband made out of?
You know, I mean, if it's plastic, technically that would survive. Plastic wouldn't degrade. Like, it would take a hell of a long time to degrade.
Even after 3,700 years?
You know what? Give me a second. Let me look that up. Because even that, I want to say, is still too long.
Because if it's like metal, it would show signs of corrosion.
Depends. The paint might have been keeping it. Well, plastic bottles. That's thinner plastic, so that maybe not.
Why? How long does it say?
Okay, so plastics can take anywhere from 20 to 500 years to decompose. So maybe not plastic. It could be. I'm trying to think what else it would be, because I wouldn't think you'd wear any ceramic thing, because that wouldn't work right. Yeah, I don't know what her headband would be made out of, because my first thought was plastic, because that lasts way longer than it should. So it would have to be something else. Carbon fiber, maybe? I could see that.
Are carbon fiber headbands a thing?
I don't see why they couldn't be. It could be metal that was painted, but again, I don't know how well that's going to fit your head. Because it would have to be sized for your head specifically or something, unless there's some way to stretch it. Or like the metal's thin enough to bend, which that didn't look thin at all.
No.
I don't know. I don't know what it's made out of. Because it's the only piece of clothing that has survived like that long. Everybody else's clothing wasn't petrified and just rotted away on their stone corpses. So yeah, we go through that for a little bit with those four, and then we get to a point where like Tsukasa starts questioning what Senku's planning to do. Senku's like, "Oh, I'm gonna bring back everything and everybody," and he's like, "Adults are awful. We shouldn't bring back adults." And we get this sad backstory of like, "Oh, woe is me. You know, I was collecting shells on the beach for my sick sister, and then the fisherman who has the fishing rights for this beach started beating the shit out of me, thinking I was stealing his shells or stealing his shit." And it's like, cool. Why does your leap in logic go from I hate adults to I hate science?
Yeah.
Because that's that leap in logic we suddenly get.
So he's like, all science must be destroyed. This new world has no need for science.
To a certain extent, I kind of get it in the idea of like, well, this world is nice and peaceful and natural, but he doesn't really make that argument too hard. It's mostly, we don't need the adults. The old ways of doing things are awful and we shouldn't go back to that.
To end up being the Lord of the Flies scenario?
Kind of. A little bit.
Although we don't see his village that much.
Yeah, we don't really see a lot of what he's doing.
Okay.
We mostly stick with Senku, who separates for a bit, like a little bit later. So yeah, Senku realizes this shit is going south, and it's not gonna get better.
Yeah, because Tsukasa is smashing every statue he can find.
Every adult he can find, it's just, well, smashy smashy time. Hulk gonna smash. Which, again, leads me to another problem of like, well, cool. All you gotta do, Tsukasa, is just smash all the adult statues that you hate, and then it doesn't matter, now does it? Right? Because there's a point where Tsukasa is like, well, I gotta murder Senku, and I'm just sitting here like, yeah, but why?
Because
you could just smash all the adults, and like, keep Senku under lock and key.
Because Tsukasa thinks Senku will revive everybody, even the adults, so he's like, oh, I'm not gonna let that happen. I'm gonna kill
yeah, that's
Senku.
why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying smash the adult statues. You can't revive a corpse.
But Senku might find more adults as he travels.
Yeah, but he's physically weak, and Tsukasa knows that. Tsukasa's faster and stronger. He would be able to probably smash those statues faster than Senku could, like, do anything about it. Especially once he has control of that cave where he's getting the nitrate from.
Yeah.
Like, this is where I run into a problem of, like, well, the logic doesn't make sense. I mean, technically, I guess he could run into, like, another source of nitrate, maybe. But the other problem is, well, cool, you could just keep him under lock and key, and then you know what he's doing and what he's not doing. There's a point, right, where, like, when Senku gets to the village, there's a point where he has a spy embedded, like, just watching him. And my brain goes, cool, now Tsukasa doesn't have to worry about shit. He's got the spy that can keep an eye and make sure nothing goes south.
I'm guessing the spy might turn in season 2.
Might. There's the hints of that. No guarantees.
Yeah.
Although granted, and I kind of had this suspicion anyway. I watched the intro for season 2 just to see what was going on. One of my suspicions about that character turned out to be like absolutely correct. But yeah. So they go their separate ways. Senku's like go ahead.
But before that, don't you forget about the smoke signals.
We haven't even gotten to that point yet.
I thought you said they went their separate ways.
Yeah, Tsukasa and
okay,
Senku.
okay, that's what you meant. That's what you meant.
Yeah, Taiju Yurizuiha? God fucking me. I can't.
Yuzahira. Why can't we say this?
It's such a goddamn tongue twister of a name for us in our English mouths.
Yuzuhira.
I want to say that's wrong, but I want to double check. Yuzuriha, that's how it's pronounced.
I might have typed a extra U in there.
I think you may have. But, she, Taiju, and Senku all head off and try to make it seem like, oh man, we had to run out of here because we were so scared. And Tsukasa ain't buying it when he finds, like, the leftovers in the shack. Like, yeah, that doesn't seem right.
They seem to escape rather fast. What a wonderful ploy. Oh, he's probably going to be making gunpowder. Which is exactly what Senku was planning.
Yeah, he's going to find gunpowder, like, find a way to make gunpowder. And if that happens, I'm fucked. I can't fight a gun. Doesn't matter what my muscles are, he's gonna be like I literally cannot fight a gun. So they go off. They find like the leftovers of like a copper statue of the Buddha, which maybe that's what was Yuzuriha's thing was made of, was like copper, maybe like painted copper or something.
Maybe
it was one of the few things that actually we've seen that survived, even if in a slightly damaged state. Also, speaking of survival, question for you. How the fuck did Senku survive? Because wasn't he on the second story of a building when the thing went off?
Yeah.
How the fuck did he get on the ground and the statue not break?
Good point.
That hit me at one point, and I wanted to write that down and I forgot. But
I didn't think of that.
My brain went, how in the hell did he get down from that? He was in a building on at least the second floor. How did, like, if the building crashed from like an earthquake or something, how the shit is he alive? Wouldn't his statue have been shattered?
Well, he's the protagonist, so he may have plot armor against things like that.
I don't think that's a good enough excuse, but fine. Especially in a show that's dedicated to science like this.
Fair enough. Yeah, because this is very real world science. Like, there's science lessons in basically every episode.
Yeah, they do stretch it a little bit. Like, some of that stuff isn't going to work exactly the way they show, but, as you would expect.
Ryan, are you a big fan of science?
What kind of stuff? Nanotechnology?
Well, I mean, they're showing you the basics of how to make gunpowder, for instance.
I mean, that's cool. I like all the alchemy stuff.
Point.
Hey,
yeah, the simple stuff's cool.
You shouldn't do this at home, kids. It's dangerous.
You'll actually make a real bomb. Bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, penicillin.
Which I'm sure that probably isn't 100% accurate to what you need to make one.
Yeah.
But yeah, penicillin they mention. Sulfa drug, which is a term I hadn't heard of before. How to make a phone.
The basics of gears.
The basics of like metallurgy and like finding and melting iron and shit.
Mm-hmm.
How to make like a little forge.
Were there alchemists at all? Did he start alchemy?
I mean,
if
by alchemy you mean like chemistry and shit, yeah.
Since this is all real world stuff, like no magic.
They do mention the Philosopher's Stone.
Ah.
Yeah, that's like also people still think that's real. Like that's in real life somewhere.
I mean, technically they're right because the stone does have the nickname of the Philosopher's Stone.
That's true.
Because if you remember right, it was what essentially allowed them to like, what was it? It was what allowed them to like tint, not tint, but like, I want to say it gave like gold plating or something to the dude's spear.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Also, interesting bit, when we do get to that village, everybody's got a name that's like Jasper or like a mineral of some kind. And then we do have like one guy named Magma. And my brain is just like, those names are going to come into play somehow. There's no way they don't.
Yeah. So we're not too sure the significance of their names yet.
Yeah, because there's only like two, and I think it's the two main girls, Ruri and Kohaku, who have like actual names, and the rest are just minerals.
Oh, and don't forget about Watermelon Girl.
Yeah, Suika.
who is the best character in this series, maybe?
Again, Mr. Science Man, we talked about this prior, but Mr. Science Man, explain to me why you're not investigating the melon that she wears, because that fucking thing
Has hammer space.
It has hammer space. It is a watermelon of holding. It is a melon of holding. All right. Explain to me why you're not investigating this infinite pocket dimension that's in there. Because the way Suika's headgear works is that she can literally shove her entire body in there and then just start rolling around to the point of she literally rolls up a pole at one point and then pops out of it and sits on top.
There she is, Orion. She can somehow fit her entire body into her headgear.
The hell?
How is that? Wait. That's not scientifically possible.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Again, I want to ask,
Cool
why
helmet.
aren't we investigating this shit? Because it's hammer space. I feel like that hammer space would be super useful in a fight against, an empire that's all about muscle.
Yeah. So, Senku and company make gunpowder, and they sort of fire.
Well, because they accidentally light the gunpowder that they made.
And that draws in Tsukasa, who says, hey, give up science, or else I'm gonna kill Yuzahira.
Yeah, because he finds her out when they were gathering materials. And figures, alright, I'll use her as a hostage.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this guy's kind of an ass.
So what was he expecting to use her as, like what was he trying to get out of it by using her as a hostage?
Get Senku to give up on, making science. And reviving
Forever.
people.
Okay.
Well, and reviving people.
Okay.
He's like, I can never give up science. I care about science way too much.
It's a non-starter for an argument here.
It's like,
No.
I kind of expected you to say that.
And then he kills Senku. Severs his, what was it? Which vertebrae? Severs a specific vertebrae.
Yeah. Except Senku wanted that to happen.
See, here's the bit that, got me, where I'm like, he literally never removed that little piece of stone that was on his neck. Absolutely never. Never occurred to him to do that. Why?
Maybe as a remembrance of being stoned so he can push himself to revive other people?
Yeah, but there's nothing he says that would implicate that.
I'm just shooting blanks here.
Well, that's my point. We don't have anything that would even give us an idea as to why that would be the case. There's nothing.
Yeah, and Tsukasa manages to hit the exact stone fragment that Senku has on his body, and Senku is still alive.
No, he's very dead. He is in fact quite dead.
Oh.
I believe you're forgetting a little tidbit here where he mentions to the others, specifically to Taiju and the others, about how when the petrification is undone, it actually heals any cracks that are in the
Body?
in the stone themselves. Yeah, in the body. While it can't repair, something that's been broken and severed, it can repair cracks. Hence why, everyone that's been revived has these black lines on their body. It's what's left over from the healing process that's in the stone.
So, the revival potion, resurrected Senku?
That's the way I took it. I took it as it healed the vertebrae and because he wasn't permanently dead, like long enough or whatever that his body would have died, that healing allowed him to come back, like without having passed away.
Okay, I took it to be that he was just like comatose.
Well, I mean, if you sever a vertebrae, I'm pretty sure that's not gonna, murder you. Or, like, leave you comatose.
I just took it to be like the stone piece in his neck was hit, and like that, the shock wave of that didn't split his vertebrae.
It might have cracked it, thus leaving him unconscious or something. But I do not think it would have fully severed it. I don't know for sure if the petrification would have had enough to like save it with the way that they described it. I'm kind of leaning toward it must not have fully like severed it so much as like maybe cracked it.
So he didn't 100% die.
That's kind of what I'm leaning to, especially now that like we're discussing it out in the open like this.
Okay.
So yeah, Tsukasa wanders off because he thinks Senku's dead. Taiju and Yuzahira run off with Senku's corpse, or what they think it is. Use the liquid on his stone piece on the back of his neck, thus reviving him. And they only figure that out due to hints that he had been kind of dropping the whole time without being able to tell Tsukasa. So they decide, you know what? Tsukasa thinks I'm dead. You guys, follow Tsukasa. So that way we know what he's up to. And we'll meet up again later. And then we never see Taiju and Yuzahira again.
Except for the final episode.
Yeah, there's like one, maybe 2-minute scene.
You're like, remember this character?
Yeah, remember these guys?
Oh, yeah. The first scene is a homeless guy that uncovered and there's a ratman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I was like 9 episodes in, and you're like, oh, favorite character so far, and I picked someone who you said was Tsundere, but I don't think she really is.
Who? Again, remind me.
Kohaku?
I said favorite Tsundere, and you said Kohaku, like all disappointed in yourself.
So, like, I don't think she is Tsundere. She doesn't have, like, classic Tsundere tropes around her.
Well, at the same time, right, I don't know if there's any actual chemistry there. It's hard to say, especially by the end, where it's like, is there a thing there, or is there not? Like, there's enough to be questioning of, like, is she interested in him, and thus this is why she treats him like this? Or is it just not there, and it's just because Senku's an ass to begin with?
Because, yeah, Senku, even though he's our protagonist, he is a bit of an asshole sometimes.
The man just says what he needs to say. He doesn't sugarcoat it at all.
He says, like, with this plan, I will take over the village and have everybody under my control.
Heck, he calls Kohaku a gorilla at one point, or a lioness, and she's like, dude, super insulting, you asshole.
And I think after I will have the village under my control, Kohaku just looks at him, you sound like a villain right now.
So yeah, we go through the process of trying to get the villagers on our side, including impressing the local sorcerer, who is just, barely understanding science himself, but thinks he's a big shit.
Wait, you know about that already? Oh, and I just invented that.
What else was there?
There was ramen.
I was gonna say that this is the part where we start, like, trying to show people, hey, I got good things. I made ramen from this thing that makes it taste awful to anyone who normally had ramen back in the day, but to someone who hasn't experienced it, it's amazing.
Wasn't it like something like cattail?
Foxtail, I think.
Ah. Okay, so like foxtail seed ramen.
Yeah, it's like a very primitive grain, but it works to make, like, the noodles.
Do you think Koizumi would want to try that?
She'd be very disgusted by it based on Senku's reaction, and he's not, like, a ramen expert in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
She probably would be very disgusted by it. That said, it's probably in her ramen dictionary somewhere.
The ramen dex.
The ramen dex has it.
So we find out that Kohaku's oldest sister, the village priestess, is sick and has been sick for a while. So they're going to make antibiotics to cure her. Ryan, how easy is it to make antibiotics?
I'd say it's kind of hard. I never made antibiotics, but I'd assume there is a process to do it.
That is very hard is an understatement.
I feel like a good third of the show is them like working toward that point of making it.
And like they have one of the village elders, like who is like their like stone carver or something, but he becomes a glass blower and he finds it so amazing, like how glass can be blown.
He's a general craftsman because he built like things out of wood too.
Ah, okay. So
yeah.
he's like Senku's first real friend or like partner in this.
Poor Chrome, you're just forgetting poor Chrome.
Well, Chrome was rejected by the village kind of in the beginning.
Oh, okay. If that's fine, if that's the route you're going down, I see what you're trying to say now.
Yeah, so he's like the first actual villager to be on Senku's side.
Although, you know, it takes them literally dragging him out to the place with fucking ropes.
And saying like, oh, you're probably not a good enough craftsman to work with this.
Oh, yeah.
And he gets a Master Roshi muscle form?
I mean, I was gonna say, like, we're jumping from a Food Wars clothing explosion to, like, I can craft shit explosion of clothing.
I can craft it!
So rather than the pleasure of food causing your clothes to explode, it's now, like, the idea of working with new materials and learning new shit. The excitement behind that's causing your clothes to explode.
Any questions about the villager, Ryan?
Are there any other people alive besides them that broke out of
Well, they didn't
the
break
deep
out.
freeze?
It seems like they've been here. So whether or not, you know, it's what is left of humanity that devolved, that somehow didn't get frozen, or what, who knows at this point. Like, we don't even know the origin of the village and how, like, this group of people would have, you know, survived past the petrification.
But we do find out a little bit later.
Oh yeah, I think we find out. We hear some things. We learn some things.
Mm-hmm. So, there is a tournament going on to be Yuri's husband, the sick woman.
The next village elder as well.
So, Senku is like, hey, we need to save Yuri, and we can't let this magma guy take over. He'll be the worst village elder.
Well, yeah, because Senku needs the village on his side to do the shit he wants to do.
So he eventually kind of becomes friends with the two village guards who are brothers. Genu and Kenryu?
Yeah, Ginru and Kinru.
Whose names contain the kanji for gold and silver in their names.
Can't imagine what that might mean.
Huh. Ginyu gets a gold spear.
Kinru.
As I was saying their names, I'm like, don't mess this up. Keen means gold. And I mix it up.
Yes, you did.
Damn it. And Ginu's like, hey, I want a silver spear. Come on. Give me one.
Yeah, Ginru's kind of the worst. Like, anything that would benefit him, as much as he can make it happen.
But come on. Rules are rules, brother.
Yeah. Kinru is the guy who's just like, nope, gotta follow the rules. Village rules are there for a reason. Don't trust anything else. You can't buy me off because you gave me a gold spear. Even though I love it so much.
No, brother, you cannot have my spear. You have your own.
They turned it into a freaking, like, they stole it from him and made it a lightning rod at one point just to get a powerful magnet out of it.
Yeah.
There was no spear left after that.
And Ginyu was saying, like, hey, looks like you don't have a shiny gold spear anymore.
Oh, yeah, gotta poke him. Poke him in the side. You don't have that thing you love anymore, huh? Huh? How's it feel, huh? Now you're like me.
And we find out Suika wears that helmet because it helps her see.
She has very poor eyesight, and because of the whole, like, pinhole effect of trying to look through a smaller hole, things come into focus a little bit better. So now we get to craft glass and lenses. Give her some glasses.
And learn about starting fire with glass.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really cool. Like, all the science they seem to pack into this.
Mm-hmm.
And every time they complete something, we get this RPG, like, old school RPG pop-up like acquired glass, acquired shelter, acquired penicillin.
Yep. But it's always seeming to be along the lines of, like, how is it they do it? It's like, by making these new things that they need out of the materials they get, right? Like, for instance, they needed glass for some other shit. I forget what the original reason they needed it for was. But as a byproduct, they're also able to now make lenses for Suika's melon helmet that she can now see with glasses that way.
Because she doesn't like taking off the helmet, and when she does, her face contorts into, like, this old woman face.
I was gonna say for a second, I'm like, when I first saw that, I'm like, holy shit, is Excalibur from fucking whatchamacallit here? From Soul Eater here? Because it looks like she just saw him. That's what that face reminded me of.
I forgot Soul Eater.
It looks like the Soul Eater Excalibur face.
Whenever you see Excalibur, you're like, oh god, not him.
So yeah, we go through. He slowly gets other people to work with him. They build a generator at one point, like a hand crank generator.
And then we get into one of Tukasa's men, who are trying to sneak in and report back. Again.
Our mentalist, quote unquote. A dude who loves manipulation.
Oh, and he's from the modern times, so he knows who Senku kind of is.
He also really likes cola.
A little
Mentions
bit
it straight up. He tries the ramen. He's like, this could go really good with a cola.
And he's like, you know about cola? You're from the modern world.
So yeah, they eventually swing Gen over because Gen himself says that he is a very shallow man, and the alliance is literally on, can Senku make him a bottle of cola?
Gen nearly dies, but due to props he has, like,
big bags of blood.
Yep, everybody's like, oh, he's dead. He comes back later. Oh, looks like you didn't kill me after all. Ha-ha!
I'm still here. I don't know, I'm trying to fast forward because, like, while there's a decent amount of stuff in here, it's also not, like, big fucking set pieces of shit going down.
There is the tournament arc going on.
There's the tournament arc, yeah, but that's like one of the few. The rest of it's just, can we make the drug? Eventually we make the drug. Cool. Now we just gotta, like, be able to give it to her. Only way that's gonna happen is if we win the tournament.
Yeah, and Magma is this, like, who we brought up earlier, is this, like, huge brute who just wants to become village elder. He's like, Ruri's going to die soon. Then I will be king of the village.
I wouldn't even have to worry about dealing with her. There's even a point where he's just like, she's gonna die. Guess I won't have to kill her myself.
And Gen uses some mental manipulation on Magma during one of his fights, saying, hey, if you move, your heart will explode. I'll
put a curse on you with my sorcery. Ooh.
I'm going to give it about 60 seconds. And all the while, Chrome is using... I know he cried on something.
So Suika's helmet got broken at one point.
Oh, yeah.
And so he's grabbed, like, the broken piece that still has a lens in it. And it wasn't even crying. I think it was his sweat.
Thank you. Once I said crying, I'm like, no. What was it? Yeah, but
nope. Sweat.
Yeah, so he made the concave lens convex so that now it can make a sunlight beam onto Magma's clothing and start it on fire.
Mm-hmm. It'll magnify it instead of spreading it. So yeah, Magma eventually gets lit on fire, and shit goes as you expect. He starts freaking out, and Kroom just kind of pushes him over the edge into the water.
Did you guys ever do the sunlight beam?
I mean, I've done it. I've not done the whole, like, burn ants or anything with it, but I've messed with it a bit.
Yeah, I don't remember doing that either.
Yeah, I think I did, like, once to do something, but, like, not burn ants, but I think I was just like, hey, this is kind of cool. So, of course, he wins the tournament, and he's like, oh, cool, I get wine? Awesome. I
just take that wine and run.
Yeah, so now that we're married, I'm getting divorced now. Goodbye.
I'm divorcing you.
Leaving everybody in the village confused.
Like, still village chief, but I guess, no marriage attachments.
Yeah, I was laughing so hard.
Why did Magma have to kill her if they could have just done that instead?
Yeah. So eventually they do make an antibiotic after finding out she has pneumonia.
Yep.
But, like, 10-year pneumonia, apparently.
I mean, like he had mentioned, Kohaku for years was bringing her, like, warm spring water, from the hot springs. Which was probably filled with who knows what other minerals and stuff that probably helped preserve her or, like, let her last longer.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way that they kind of implied what happened, in that regard, at least.
So, Ryan, one of the big reveals, how did this village get here?
I wanted to say, it fell off a mega ship that was in outer space and landed.
You're a lot closer than you think.
Just think a little bit more realistic.
And I believe I want to say that this thing took place in, like, 2030 something. Like, before the 3,700 years go by?
2019.
Are we sure? Because 3,700 years minus the year that Senku first gives us is not 2019.
Let's see.
Dr. Stone is set in 2038.
There you go. I thought it was 2030 something.
Oh, okay, then I guess...
Then add the 3,700 years, and that's the current date when they revive.
Okay, because Wikipedia says it is 2019.
I mean, that's when the show came out.
Okay, maybe the... I do not know then, because, like, these two sources say different things.
I mean, I'm going off of what was in the show, so I'm pretty sure what I'm saying here is accurate. But yeah, Ryan, any further ideas on the source of this village's existence?
By the way, I just checked the official Dr. Stone wiki, and that says the petrification happened in 2019.
Funny, because the years don't line up then.
How about a cruise ship?
Well, I mean,
somehow
wouldn't that have been petrified too?
I don't know. I thought maybe a calamity happened or something too, like a boat.
You were right with you were closer with your first idea of mega ship.
Okay, a meteor.
The space station.
A space station. Okay.
The International Space Station specifically.
Oh damn! All right.
So these 6 astronauts or 6 people that were up there were the only survivors of the petrification of Earth.
They also were able to figure out where it started by figuring out where the last or the first messages off of
Twitter.
I think they were using like Twitter and there was another one they mentioned.
Line? I think Line may be a big social media in Japan.
It wasn't that one. It wasn't WhatsApp. It was the one that does pictures a lot. I'm blanking on which one it is. That was it. They used Instagram. They're like, which one started disappearing first, and they traced it back, and it ends up it's in like South Africa, is where the origin of the petrification started. But that's as far as they can figure it out, as far as, pinpointing it. So yeah, they're like, well, shit, we gotta figure out what's going on Earth. This is weird. They end up hacking into like security cameras and being able to see like in sports stadiums, like just tons of people in the seats just frozen as like petrified stone. Like, what the shit? So they end up. We should also point out, one of those astronauts is Senku's adopted father.
Yes.
Byakuya. So they end up coming back to Earth, trying to figure out, can we fix this? Answer is no, but they'll try and survive the best they can. And from those 6, we get all the kids that then become this village. And they've passed down like stories and stuff.
And I think you said it was South Africa? I thought it was South America.
No, South Africa.
Okay.
So, roughly how many people are alive?
In the village, about 40.
Yeah.
I want to say it's around 50, yeah.
And maybe Tsukasa, at the end of season 1, probably revived maybe like somewhere between 40 to 100.
Because the actual time scale of the first season from the point of Senku waking up is like 2 years.
Okay.
It's about a year and a half after he and the others split up and he gets to the village.
Okay.
So, once we get Ruri all fixed up and we learn about the village's origins, we get another half year of working on, all right, cool, the meathead empire that is Tsukasa's whole setup is going to come and try and kill us.
Oh, shit.
We got until spring, so our next bet is to make the best possible weapon we can to fight them. The cell phone! Communication!
Yes, because when we have a cell phone, we'll be able to know what they're doing, and we'll be able to communicate.
So, here's the funny part. The way he originally explains this, it's like, oh, cool, it's going to be like a quick, like, secret receiver, because we're going to give it off to Taiju and Yuzuriha to just, like, spy on them and give us information at the right time. And it's like, when they're done, this thing's fucking massive. There's no... How are you going to secret that around? They're not going to be spies in the traditional sense anymore. Not to mention they realize, wait a minute, we got to make a second one.
Oh,
otherwise this doesn't work.
Yeah, it's true.
Although what we do also find out is that one of the stories that Ruri has in her repertoire as the priestess pinpoints that there was a record made by the original 6 people from the space station. They made a record and then they hid it in what ended up being their gravestone. So that, much like Byakuya seemed to think the entire time, Senku would be the first one to revive and find this shit. To be fair, the story about, like, Byakuya kind of, like, it nearly got me crying, because I'm like, shit, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Hell, even the part where, like, we saw some flashbacks where Byakuya literally sold his car to give, like, Senku all of the science shit he'd need to, like, study and understand things. Like, he sold off his own car to give him that.
Damn. Wait, after?
When Senku was a kid, we got a flashback of Byakuya selling off his car.
Okay.
And then when Senku came home one day and opened up his room, it was filled to the brim with like science gifts, including like telescopes, microscopes, all sorts of different equipment for him to like mess around with.
Oh, damn.
But yeah, they find the record, which was made out of the bottom of a bottle and scratched into the glass. And they started listening to that. And here, one of the astronauts was actually like one of the famous singers of the time. She got sent up along with the rest of them for what was probably going to be like, you know, a 2-week venture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, obviously, it became like a lifetime thing because of the whole petrification. But one of her songs was inscribed in there, and as far as we know, this village has never heard songs before. Like, that got lost over the course of the time.
Oh, wow.
I did glance at the Dr. Stone wiki just to see, and I did spoil myself the exact coordinates of the start of it, and it was South America, not South Africa.
I swore it said South Africa. Unless the translation was off, but I swore it showed Africa.
Tiny spoiler, Brazil.
Weird, because I swore it showed it like on the tip of the end of South Africa. I have to go back and look at that scene then.
I could have sworn it said South America, and I'm right that Brazil.
They also had the wrong freaking... Unless they changed it in the anime.
Maybe? But then, if they go to the source of the petrification down the line, they're going to have to like rewrite the entire story, maybe.
Depends.
Because if it's in like the Amazon rainforest, for example, because I know like part of
I was gonna say the other thing that looked interesting is like when they were showing it from the ISS, like the scientists seeing it, it seemed like it started at the top of the globe and enveloped it from there, like the green glow.
Huh. I don't... Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that part again.
Yeah, same. But yeah, the end of this gave you a shit ton of blue balls. Because they built up to the whole war thing, and then they just end right before it happens.
Yeah, so like this is the intro arc, kind of.
They should have done a Vinland Saga and just said end of prologue at the end of this.
They should have. But wait, wasn't one of the... No, that was early on where they had like prologue of Dr. Stone. Wasn't that like episode 5 or something?
I mean, wouldn't the prologue have been like Senku's dad?
Probably.
But yeah, that's kind of it. We have, you know, the quote unquote cell phone. You know, we're ready to go on to the next the war once season 2 starts, which is called the Stone War.
Orion, what?
Yes.
What invention do you think they could lead into making cell phone or phone wiring? What could be built that could also be repurposed into making cell phone wiring?
Wait, one more time. What can be repurposed in a cell phone wiring?
Into something that could be made for cell phone wiring.
I don't know, something copper.
Think thin strands.
Yeah, like coat hanger?
Not material, but how to make it. Like how to make the thin strands. Not the material itself.
Oh, spaghetti maker?
Not a bad idea, but not quite.
Think about one of my mom's obsessions.
Cotton
candy machine.
Okay.
So they give the village cotton candy, and everybody loves it. Even the grumpy former village chief.
Delicious.
And we kind of brought up that Tsukasa has a second spy on Senku, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna tell him you're alive. He's like, you can do that. I don't care. We made you cotton candy. Don't worry, it's not poison. And he's like, hey, you can even give it to an animal to test. And she just goes like, It's been a while since I had cotton candy. She takes a bite. Oh, this is so good.
Mm-hmm.
I think she might turn to Senku's side, but I can't guarantee that.
So one of the things I got spoiled on by watching the intro for season 2, was that it looks like she was an acrobat prior to all this.
She did do like some high in the air like flips to avoid people.
Well, that's what I thought when with the way she was moving. I'm like, wait a minute, she's acting like an acrobat. So either she was like a gymnast, or she was like in a circus. And when the cotton candy came up, I'm like, oh, she was totally from like a circus or something.
Yeah, that sounds like circus behavior. Eating cotton candy, get her a funnel cake, see what happens.
Oh, okay, Brandon. Since a war is coming up, and they will need rations for the war, do you think he will invent Cup Ramen?
I mean, he's already invented jarring.
Yes, but
which is preserving shit.
Probably he'll have Cup Ramen soon. That's my guess. Mm-hmm. That would be like one of the quote-unquote big inventions.
Could be.
He'll probably make it taste better. Maybe.
So, I haven't found where they deduce where it specifically came from here. But I do have the scene of, like, the glow starting.
Mm-hmm.
It does look like it comes from the top at the North Pole.
Oh.
Which, even when I first saw it and thought it was South Africa, I'm like, but it came from the North. What the hell?
You could have sworn, since I watched the sub version, that it said South America.
Again, this one doesn't have that, but it does show the glow seeming to start at the North Pole.
Oh.
Like, the visual didn't add up to what they said one way or the other.
Yeah. Problem. So, I do not know what that means? Is there, like, some war that people were fighting? Like, is there something non-scientific, like ancient aliens involved in this?
Yeah, dude. What I was gonna say.
No.
What if it was like the village? Where, like, maybe South America might be, like, one of the last continents or, like, areas.
Wait, the village. Was that the, Shyamalan movie?
Yes, M. Night Shyamalan. Yep.
I think my second cousin, like, that was filming, like, 3 miles away from where she lived at one point.
Yeah, where the hell did they film that?
Somewhere around Philly, since most of his stuff is around that area.
I know Signs was filmed in Phoenixville. So I'm trying to, maybe like around the same,
Yeah, since didn't Shyamalan grow up in Philly?
Oh, yeah, in Bucks County, yeah.
So, I am going to definitely watch season 2 and 3 when 3 drops.
Like I said, when we first talked about this one, I had heard, for whatever reason, 2 seems to go downhill compared to 1. I don't remember the specifics. I want to say it's story related, but I don't know for sure.
As bad as Promise Neverland?
I don't think it would be anywhere near that bad, but what I have heard is that it's different. Like, it could just be, who knows, maybe they restructured it like Promise Neverland was?
Or Boku no Hero, where they took the 2 arcs out of order.
Probably closer to that. Like, maybe it's something like that, and that's what messes with it? Who knows?
Okay.
I don't remember specifics.
Yeah, so, Ryan, do you have any interest in watching this?
This sounds pretty cool, to be honest. I'd check it out.
Yeah, I would say, like, the first few episodes are definitely worth a watch, just to see where this goes, and check out all of Senku's expressions.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the guy that writes this and draws this stuff must love like absolutely love making people have the most evil faces possible. Like, they always look sinister. There's never any time other than when like they do a chibi style that they look like they're actually innocent. They always look evil.
Hold on, I'm just pulling one up here. Let's just pull this up and send it to you.
I got one myself. Oh, that one's not even like as detailed as I was expecting. A lot of the faces are always like super detailed.
What the fuck?
Let
me see if I can find another one.
And that is our main protagonist in like the bottom two I sent you.
Here we go. Here's one. Again, you're using the ones that are way more simple. Shit like this. Or like, here's what I don't know if this is season 2 or not, but this is another good example of like how ridiculous some of these faces can be.
What the fuck?
I was just going to send that one. Like, his shocked face. But
that's like wait, is this from the manga or from the show?
That's from the show.
Okay.
I'm sure the manga has it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
because that's like comic book worthy style.
Oh yeah, no, like there is plenty that's like super evil looking. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Let me open this in new tab. Here's a perfect one, right? Where like they're doing static electricity.
That's sane.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but just the expressions they give sometimes is hilarious.
Here's one of the other ones. I forget exactly when this scene happens, but here's a good one too. Where I'm just like, what the fuck? Where is this coming from? Because this one is like probably one of the most standouts of just, this is so different from all of the others we've seen.
Oh man. Is that like, that reminds me of One Punch Man.
Yeah.
Kind of, actually, now that you say it. Faces are still way more detailed than they should be for this.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like an homage to One Punch Man or something.
Totally be. It could totally be that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the fucking artist who does this, the mangaka, must love making the most sinister looking faces. Because they're constantly there.
I would love to see what he does next, because Dr. Stone was only 5 years from March 2017 to March 2022. So, yeah, like, he'll probably have enough going on. Yeah, he's only 45 at this point, so yeah. I'd be really interested to see what he does next, and if he does, like, evil face, like, contortions, like, just his, like, this guy's art style is pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty.
The only thing I've noticed is that, like, the girls tend to have very similar faces. Like, and maybe that's just because the two main ones are sisters that it looks that way.
And we don't see Yuzahira all that much past episode 6.
Yeah.
So maybe...
But that's the only thing I've really noticed, is that to me, and again, that's just without having like a lot of comparisons together, the girls tend to look kind of similar.
Yeah, but maybe when Yuzahira is next to Kohaku, you're like, oh yeah, there's enough of a difference.
It could be.
Oh, I've heard of this. Eye Shield 21.
The name is very familiar.
Yeah, he also did that. Interesting.
Oh yeah, how do you like the part where they were puking rainbows?
Yes.
God, if it got colder, we'd actually have to huddle together for warmth. Oh.
And we miss out on one point that
Here you go,
Magma...
Ryan, just so you can have this image in your head.
See it.
And that Magma kind of became less harsh by the end. He's saying, like, you impress me, Senku, but show me something boring and I'll kill you.
I will fucking kill you.
So, I'm guessing that by the end, Magma will lose all antagonism towards Senku.
I mean, I'm sure there's going to be, like, the playful antagonism of, like, I need to keep up appearances, so I'm going to be an ass. But other than that, yeah.
Kind of like Vegeta.
Yeah, well, Vegeta just does that in general.
To everybody.
He can respect you and be an ass at the same time.
Yeah, because Vegeta's a rare male tsundere.
Yep. You don't see those out in the wild too often.
Is he your favorite character? DBZ?
Actually, who
not
would
really.
be? I think I like Krillin.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Who would be my favorite character?
Piccolo's pretty awesome too.
Piccolo's definitely up there in the top 3.
Trunks, Teen Trunk, Kid Trunks is my favorite.
Trunks. Future Trunks is my favorite.
Yeah, the Trunks.
That's right. I almost forgot about him.
And Majin Buu are my 2 favorite, Majin Buu and Trunks.
Like Good Boo, or are we talking like Kid Boo or Super Boo?
Probably Kid Buu. I do like Big Boo though.
I think probably Whis is up there too in my top 3. It's probably like Future Trunks, followed by Whis, just because he's such a dick in like how much he just omits information and is just bought off by food constantly. And then probably Piccolo.
Yeah, so that ends our discussion about Dr. Stone. And as we accidentally teased...
Somehow close that.
At the end of the last episode, in high school, communication is very hard.
Very, very hard.
So, until next time, we'll catch everybody later.
So, yeah.
Am I in?